Good afternoon, warm greetings from Rome to all of you attending the Central European Interfaith Forum in Nitra, Slovakia. And this video is being recorded in the headquarters of COREIS, Islamic Religious Community, which is an organization including prominent Italian Muslim figures engaged in promoting harmony between the Islamic faith and the Italian cultural tradition in the wider European and Western framework. Our host is COREIS Vice President, Imam Yahya Pallavicini. Actually, he couldn't participate as one of the distinguished speakers in the forum, but he strongly wished to give his contribution to the proceedings by sharing his views on peace, religion and security, which is the subject of the ongoing session. So, Imam Pallavicini, I thank you very much for your willingness to address the forum anyway from your headquarters. And actually there are a few relevant issues I would like to discuss with you. Starting with the fact that now we are living times where religious-based narratives and ideologies are increasingly exploited to trigger armed conflicts, terrorism and violence. And all that seems to validate a negative perception of the role of religions in the public sphere as instruments of war. What is your view on this matter? Can religions provide the means and guiding principles to support peacemaking efforts and diffuse confrontational situations?
Well, yes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for this occasion, and warm greetings also from myself to all of you for this Central European Interfaith Conference. My first answer is religion has always been helping for exchanges and in-depth knowledge and peace among cultures and civilizations. And in our times, unfortunately, we are facing the abuse of religion, which is used by some ideological criminals in order to somehow pretend to have a reason for their violence. But this is only the abuse of religion. So we are in somehow damaged twice. On one side, the majority of the population of Muslims have been murdered by these terrorists. And on the other side, our religious identity is brainwashed and used out of its context in a very negative way. So as religious leaders, we need to engage to show what is the true wisdom of religion, what is the true identity and goal of a religious dimension and in life, and as a consequence, to strengthen the peaceful dimension instead of the violent abuse.
I see. So you are also the Imam of the Rome Mosque in Milan, and for this reason you have a direct and wide experience of the Muslim communities living in Italy and generally in Europe today. In your opinion, what needs to be done to counter extremism and prevent radicalization, which leads people to terrorism? And at the same time, if you look at the broader Islamic world, what needs to be done to counter extremism and prevent radicalization in Muslim-majority countries?
Well, yeah, exactly. This is a good question because it shows two different contexts. On one side, we have a European dimension, a European context, a secularized society where religious dimension is integrated in the respect of secular democratic policies and the principle of freedom of religion. We need in Europe is a new generation of Muslim European leaders that are able to link between the European identity in terms of history and culture and intellectual and politics, and on the other side with the authenticity of a religious dimension that goes to the roots of our religious masters in Islamic tradition. So we need to have this new leadership of religious leaders that can fill the gap between a religious misinterpretation and the ignorance of Western standards. On a more broader dimension, I think that we should probably try to engage in interreligious dialogue between East and West as well.
I see. Actually, you mentioned interreligious dialogue, and you have a wide experience on this matter about interreligious dialogue between the three Abrahamic faiths. And if you look at the situation in the Mediterranean and the Middle East right now, at the crisis ongoing in this region, we see that addressing the religious dimension of these conflicts is all the more necessary today. And do you think that a true process of interreligious dialogue and cooperation, both within Islam and between Islam and other religions, can really be helpful to facilitate diplomatic agreements and political settlements in a region being marred by sectarianism and violence?
Well, yes, this question gives us the complexities of the situation and the different levels of responsibilities we have to engage together. On one side, theology cannot solve all the problems, but on the other side, you cannot have only a pragmatic, narrow-minded implementation of religious intellectual understandings. So once again we have to link probably other situations, which is how to link tradition and modernity, how to respect the diversity of West and the East. So bridging the past with the future, bridging the regions of the East with the West, and trying to involve our responsibilities as religious leaders in different fields of society. So it's not only a theological work, it's not only an interreligious doctrinal work, but it's also how we bring certain universal values in the fields of work, family, international relations, and politics as well.
So you think that East and West can encounter somewhere? Is it possible?
Well, this is, I think, our responsibility, and probably is the message I send to all of you at this very important meeting in Slovakia. We have to respect the diversities and the specific identities of the different situations, but try to find ways to link and to bridge human beings in the respect of cultures, civilizations, religious identities, cultural dimensions of the East and the West, tradition and modernity, and find eventually together this universal open-mindedness, which does not mean a syncretistic confusion, but which means really unity in diversity.
Thank you so much, Imam Pallavicini.
Thank you
Our
very
time
much.
has finished, and again, my best greetings from Rome to our friends and colleagues in Nitra attending the Central European Interfaith Forum. Goodbye.